Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fanrun Radio.
Open up the phone lines. I'm fired up today, man. We talked for like 3 hours last night after that game on our Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime. And, hey, I just I appreciate so much what I witnessed last night. And who's ever coughing? Who's coughing? Is that you, Bino?
That's me.
Don't
Tony,
start that, Bino. I'm coughing. Don't start that, man. We're having an intercoastal. We're having an intercoastal cough-a-thon here. Bino's in Las Vegas, where he won wages over the weekend, betting basketball games. How many people can say that? And we're live with you on a Monday, and I'm just look. I said coming into the tournament that if this team gets to the Sweet 16, it would be coach of the century material. Okay? And I mean that. It's an incredible accomplishment to get here. I mean, just to get here. It is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely amazing. And Tennessee had a little bit of everything in that game. Now, Rodney Wood's going to join us later on in the hour. Rodney Woods, who played here, many moons ago, but is a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Kentucky, is the guy responsible for Chris Lofton ultimately ending up here. He essentially discovered Chris Lofton. And he texts and says, this Nate Ament guy, he said, look, I wore the uniform 50 years ago. I'm VFL to the core. Rodney has, literally in his basement, a toilet. And on his toilet is a Kentucky emblem. And he puts a deuce there every once in a while. It's a true story. Rodney's real deal Holyfield. Rodney said, I consider that young man a VFL, FL, no question about it. There are so many people in his position that if they were in the spot he's in, playing in the pain he's in, they would have already pulled themselves out of the tournament. I have so much respect for Nate Ament. Rick Barnes was so right about him. So right. And here's the truth. If Nate Ament was 100% healthy, Tennessee would have absolutely obliterated Virginia yesterday. That would have been an obliteration. That wouldn't have been a basketball game. Of course, they don't obliterate anybody, but sounds good to say that. It's a shame that on this great stage, he's not going to get a chance to show who he really is. But let's go to the phones. No. Let's get Bino Jeff Henderson here, who's in Vegas. And if you want to get in with us, 865-200-5402. We'll get some calls in. But really, 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 really excited about what we saw yesterday. Really, really excited. And also got to reach out and do a proof of life check for Dave, who yesterday it did sound like, I went back and listened to Dave. Somebody sent me they clipped his call. And Dave really did sound like he was in the middle of a hostage situation, like he was being held at gunpoint, and he was reading from a prepared statement when he said the following: I'm really proud of this team. I'm really proud of this coach. And that's all I've got to say. It was almost like they were telling him, hey, look, man. All right, let's get in here. Bino Jeff Henderson. The Vols are dancing, brother. Sweet 16. What do you think?
Tony, I'm really happy. I did not think this team would still be in the tournament. when I got home from Las Vegas. But happy as I can be to be wrong. Wasn't the smoothest of landings. Some of our old issues, like faulty ball handling in key possessions, trouble inbounding, making it to the finish line a little hairy. But this team was able to overcome all of that. It's almost like they'd been practicing for this point with some earlier games this season. In the end, they hit clutch free throws. They locked down defensively to get enough stops to close out the most important game of the season, and made it to Sweet 16 for the fourth consecutive time, which I didn't think I would ever see here. Really happy for Jacoby, who struggled making free throws late in games earlier this season. That was an issue. He certainly fixed that, and in much bigger points than he had ever seen to this point. Tennessee drained them. Nate Ament did the same thing. You could tell Nate doesn't have the push-off that he needs offensively on a lot of plays. He rushes through things. But like you, I really admire his courage, and through it, he's regained his aggression, and that's hard to do while you're still hurt. You mentioned Bishop Boswell. Can't think of a bigger time for him to hit some threes like he did yesterday. Jalen Carey was effective in a game that I thought he would be useless in against Virginia's length, and Felix Akpar was just an absolute beast defensively. And provided some offense too. So I'm elated that this team has gotten to the Sweet 16, and I don't put anything past them. I know this Iowa State team is very, very good.
We've said all year, look, Abina, now that you're in this spot, one of the things we've said all year is that sometimes you watch sport long enough, it has a perverse way about it. The last time the Yankees held the trophy, A-Rod led them to the World Championship, the most unclutched player in the history of the world. And part of a Yankee team that drove you nuts. Beat my Phillies in the World Series, right? They drove you crazy. I remember you that year. You just, as a team, you despised. That was the last team that held the trophy. Last night, there were people calling in going, well, you guys said, and Alex finally piped in and said, listen, we had to do the post-game shows after every single game this year. And let's not rewrite history now that these guys are in the Sweet 16. These guys were hard to watch this season. We're not going to rewrite history here. Now, sometimes it's the teams like this. The J.P. Prince team was like that just drove you nuts. That's the closest the Vols have been to the Final Four that year. That went right to the last couple of possessions, and they were sitting right there on the doorstep. But that team did maddening things, depending on when you were watching them. I'm going to tell you right now, getting this team to a Sweet 16, because, well, Rick Barnes built the roster. Well, I mean, yes and no. The way it works in the way I think about building your roster right now, it's like going into one of those sealed vaults when they're dropping money from the ceiling and you're just trying to grab as much of it as you can with the air. It's blowing it up in the air. And then you walk out of there and you assess how you did. Or you go to a flea market, those of you that do that, and you're trying to beat the person over there for this, or an auction. You're trying to, and then you walk out and you go, okay, what did I get? That's what putting your team together in the spring's like. You're not always going to get it right. And Tennessee came up a shooting guard short this year. There's no question. But this team, for them to get through that round yesterday, showed a lot of courage and a lot of guts. And it took people doing things they didn't do all year. Bishop Boswell wasn't doing that all year. He didn't play that well all year. And you had to have that. You had to have that. And it's not only the making the shots, it's the 9 assists with the 0 turnovers. That's my number. It isn't so much the 3, but the 3 balls are great. And then it's the attention to detail on defense. And, Tennessee had their moments, like Bino said. How about Rick Barnes exhausting all of his timeouts by the end of the game, coaching the game to the finish line, taking the final timeout to put amen in, taking a timeout when Tennessee got herky-jerky. He never does that. He always trusts the process. Not this time, because he knows. Bino, he doesn't get that timeout there when we're melting down. Virginia's on a 12-2 run. We probably don't get back in the game if he doesn't take a timeout and slow it down there.
No, I agree, Tony. And I thought you had to take your last timeout when he took it to get his offensive personnel back in there. And if they'll just give the game an opportunity, it'll give you a timeout you don't have anyway, because they'll walk over there to the side to review something, and you can use it that way.
You know, I just appreciate so much everything it took to get past that round yesterday for these guys. Because here's the truth. Virginia looked awful in that first half. In that second half, their offensive execution was off the charts, Bino.
Yes.
And we just kept matching it. I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. We just kept matching it. At one point, Bino, we were playing the game of our lives and only up 4. And I was like, oh, my gosh, we're in trouble here. Did you have that thought, Bino?
Yeah, I was nervous the entire game. It stayed, basically right around. We got up 8 a couple of times. But every time we got up 8, they hit a huge shot. They had an answer every time that we tried to make a run. And the game was right there. And we've just seen so many faulty finishes that I had a fear there. Listen, I love this group of kids. Absolutely love this group of kids. But anyone that watched them this year that doesn't think that they're somewhat maddening, they have a level of tolerance that I don't possess.
Yes. And I like these people, like this guy, East. I'm just going to make East 10 because we had some of this last night on the postgame show. I got news for some of you. This is not about you. This whole thing of I'm going to extract a pound of flesh out of all these people that criticize the team all year. Come on, man. Can't we just enjoy something? Here's East 10 in here. It's hilarious how much the chat was on my neck all year about my takes on basketball, LOL. This chat's full of terrible takes, man. Do not exactly watch the sport and relish in us losing. Hey, East 10, would you just relax, man? Can you relax and let it go and just enjoy yourself? Does it have to be about y'all 24/7? Does it? I mean, Sammy came in here last night trying to he wanted a pound of flesh out of me. We had a guy in Nashville. I remember you after so-and-so. Yeah, I said what I said after. You need to go back and listen to yourself. No, I don't. Alex piped in and said, sir, we're doing post-game call-in shows. We're not doing this is where we're going to be in March. If you guys want, I just won't do the show after games, if that's what you guys want. Is that what we want? Is that what we want? East Tennessee, Tony, they did it all year. They murdered me every day. Hey, East Tennessee, I tell you what, buddy, then why don't you not come in the chat? Then why don't you just get out of the chat, sweetheart? Nobody's going to apologize to you, bro. It's sports. Relax. Relax. It's not about you. The Vols are in the Sweet 16, sweetheart. And that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. I mean, we had a beautiful game yesterday, and it's something that unites us. It's terrific. We're on to the Sweet 16. As Brian said, there are 3 teams in the entire tournament that have done that 4 years in a row. And who are the 3, Bino?
3 teams that have done that have made 4 straight Sweet 16s?
Yeah, guess them.
Alabama's 1.
Yes.
We're 1.
Yes. I'll give you a hint.
Duke.
No. How about that Houston bunch and what they did to A&M over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Man.
2 of those teams are tougher than everybody. That's the deal here. Listen, you're sitting here on a Monday. Let's dream a little dream, okay? Let's dream a little dream here. You ready? Here's the dream. Here's the dream. Here's the dream. The dream is this. Alabama comes out, the Dweem. They come out and shoot the lights out. Brian, Friday, in the early session. They knock out Michigan. We take the stage for about 10:30 Eastern time. As Brant Packer wrote online today, Billy Packer's son, he said, what in the world? Why would they have the Vols playing? He said, and it won't be until 10:30. He said, so let's get real. His father worked at CBS for years. And Brant is a Tennessee graduate. His daughter's coming here next year. Sweet
wow,
people.
How can that be possible?
He's listening to us today. Brant used to intern under me down through the years.
Yes.
He's such a good dude. You remember him, right, Bino? He's a good dude, man.
Absolutely. He's got a daughter getting ready to go to college.
Yes. Let's go.
Well, it's time for me to quit.
Let's go. He says, and he's so fired up right now because, look, he grew up Tennessee fan. He's Tennessee guy to the core. He had to listen all those years, all that ACC stuff, ACC this, ACC that. The truth is, you look at this tournament, and there are two leagues that are carrying the banner right now, and it's the AFC and the NFC. And it's the Big Ten, and it's the Southeastern Conference. And if Florida didn't choke a bone yesterday, Bri, they would be exactly proportional, wouldn't they, in terms of the teams in this thing?
It would be 5-5. That's
exactly right. If Florida didn't choke a bone, it'd be 5 teams each. How wild is that?
I told my buddies out here, when Vandy and Kentucky and Florida all get sent to the house in a 24-hour period in which we advance, it just doesn't get any better than that for an old ball fan.
Well, and then you got Matt Jones sitting courtside who had to leave. I went back and looked at that, Brian. He actually wrote on Twitter, I had to leave so I wouldn't yell at the officials. I guess, Matt, you'll just give out their coordinates later on and try to ruin their business like you did several years ago. Is that what we're going to do? We have to do something because Kentucky just can't lose. I mean, of course.
Officials in that game?
Yeah.
What were they doing, setting picks?
Well, he said he had to leave because it was going to take everything in his power not to scream at those officials. That's what he wrote.
Might as well got on the scorekeeper's ass.
I mean, yeah, the Big Ten has 6 teams in. I understand that. But they would have 5, and so would the SEC if Florida didn't choke a bone. And that's kind of the point here. I never dreamed this team would still be playing. I will tell on myself. And I never dreamed that Bishop Boswell could have that kind of game in the NCAA tournament, which shows you why they call this thing madness and how random it is and how crazy it is. The kid that made the shot for St. John's yesterday at the end of the game told Patino, he said, called his own number. He hadn't made a field goal all day. Patino said on the podium after the game, he said, I'm walking away from him and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. He hadn't made a shot all day. He said, but by that point, it was too late. He said, I already called the play. And the guy went there, done the thing, and he made the play. He went right down the thing. So great. So great. Here's the thing. Think about it this week. Why not dream about it? If Alabama goes out and shoots the lights out Friday night, and it could happen. They do it. They do this to teams that aren't used to seeing them. They pull Arizona into their mess.
Has Michigan seen a team even close to the style of Alabama this year in the Big Ten?
I don't think so. Who plays that style? I mean, I kept saying Arizona. Michigan is what I mean. Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Now, the line is 10.5 points.
Right.
Michigan's favored, of course. But But
our line's 3.5, which again isn't very surprising. It's not what I would call a tremendous surprise. But let's go to the phones. This is about you today. It's about us celebrating 4 consecutive Sweet 16s. Only 3 teams that have done it. First time in school history. And Brian, compared to Kentucky, when you juxtapose us to Kentucky, in the Barnes era, we basically have stolen their program, Brian.
I think it's 6 straight years Tennessee's gone further in the tournament than Kentucky.
Bino, you ever dream that's possible? You, Chris Burke, who lives up there. I mean, Rodney Woods. Is that possible? Could Kentucky do that if they tried? I don't care what era they're in. The NIL era, the non-NIL era. That just doesn't seem, because that bridges those 2 eras. That just doesn't seem possible, guys.
No, it doesn't. With their change in athletic director, is Pope in trouble?
Yeah. Is he in trouble?
Yes.
I mean, I don't see how they bring him back.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see how he wouldn't be. His AD just quit. The backstory on that is there's a guy that they thought was going to be the next AD, the succession plan, who's a Mormon, who was involved in the whole Pope from BYU thing. And BYU showed you how much they believed in Pope. As soon as they went and got the guy from the NBA off the Suns bench, they salted that guy with all kinds of money that they would not spend on Pope. And James Daniel says the Vols were favored yesterday. First team, all SEC point guard, top 10 pick. And Tony has these guys up there with St. Peter's and UMBC. James, I didn't think they were winning yesterday. And I thought Nate Ament's health issue was going to be the culprit. Nate Ament gutted out his 16 points, and they had to have him. Now, James, maybe you saw Bishop Oswald hitting 4 threes yesterday in that game. I didn't see that. But maybe James saw it. Which good for James. And the Vols were favored, no question. Bino, were you expecting?
But it flipped late.
Oh, did it?
In order for that to happen, when I got here, Tennessee was a 1.5 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And then the night before the game,
yep,
it flipped to Tennessee being a 1.5 favorite.
Back to our phones we go. I know that internally Tennessee staff liked that matchup, which is something I talked about last night. I had somebody tell me internally, hey, we like, and I was like, okay. I mean, they were right. They were right. They liked the matchup, and they were right. Even with immense physical limitations, Tennessee was able to do a lot of great things yesterday. A lot of great things. Let's go to the phones. Hello and welcome into our first call. You're on our Monday edition. We were on close to 3 hours last night. It was a great fun. I love Nate Ament. I love his courage. I love his heart. That's a phenomenal effort by a guy out there risking his body. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, Tony? Grant in Birmingham. How are you?
Hey, Grant. What a great way to start off on a Monday.
Man, what a great day it is. I listened to a lot of it last night. Didn't call in. I figured I'd have a better chance of getting in first thing today, which
Thank
worked
you.
out.
Hey, Grant, did you
I was gonna
expect
say
to win? Did you expect to win yesterday?
I did not.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we had a chance, but no, I wasn't expecting to win.
Okay.
I just felt that this team, games in a row against pretty good competition, playing at a high level, I didn't think we could do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I thought we played really good on Friday. I mean, I know that it wasn't obviously that we kind of overmatched them, but I thought we played really good on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought besides that kind of 5-minute stretch, I thought we played really good yesterday. I think that's the first time. I'd have to look back at the schedule, but I feel like that's the first time we played back-to-back really good games against quality competition. I mean, is it all year? I don't. The SEC. There probably was 2 games there in a row. Georgia, Bama. I think we played back-to-back on the road and beat them. Maybe that's the last time we've done it. So yeah, it was definitely very impressive.
You know, we had that funky 5 minutes that generally knocks us out or knocked us out of some of these games. It's almost like, if the Kentucky fans are listening, the Kentucky fans have to understand something. We used you guys as sort of practice games because we got that out of our system and we learned how to play through that duress yesterday. Because earlier in the year, if we would have had a 4-minute stretch like that, first of all, Rick Barnes wouldn't have taken a timeout. What did you think of that, Grant? Him deviating and getting a timeout and saying, I've seen enough of this.
Yeah, it was great. I think that, people, and there are certain ways where he is stubborn, and there's no doubt about that. But I think that he's changed a lot over his, whatever it is, 11 years now, as far as, he has adjusted. I think one of those timeouts was Ament calling one on the inbound, which, as y'all said, that goofy stuff's got to stop. But,
yep.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought he called it at the perfect time. I thought it was a good day. If we would have lost, maybe you could have argued against it, but I thought he called a good timeout to get Ament back in the game.
It's a great timeout.
It was
great
kind of a risk because it was their last timeout.
It's a great timeout.
You love to have at least one or 2 timeouts at the end.
Yeah.
So I was honestly shocked he called it to get him back in the game.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought that was a great timeout. But kind of a couple things I wanted to hit on real quick. First of all, to Dino's point, I think Pope is safe for this year just because they don't have an AD, like you're saying, and I think those people all hate Barnhart so much at this point. I don't think they want Barnhart making another basketball hire on the way out. Now, I will say that I think Pope's probably, I'd be surprised if he gets a year 4. I mean, he'll have to be really good next year, but I do think we're going to get one more year of Pope. Hopefully, maybe we can beat him once next year. Maybe we're asking for too much, but we'll see. We'll worry about that next year. I think kind of the overreaching fault I had when you look at how well Boswell played yesterday and Carey, and it just kind of hit me. And I know that some of these guys have been so maddening at times. But you look at these last 4 years, this 4 straight Sweet 16, you can say whatever you want about him, but I think, Barnes has had a way of having some of these role players that are so up and down, and even more down than up a lot of times, step up in these games. You go back to Amwa against Duke. I mean, that was a performance for the ages. Talking about a guy that was frustrating, how up and down he was. The guy scores 27 points against Duke.
Let's list some of these guys. Hang on. I'm gonna slow down here. I'm gonna get this in the blog tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Amwa against Duke, 27 points. Game of his career by far.
Versus Duke, 27 points. All right, go ahead, continue.
Josiah James, who did a lot of good things, but
Yes.
he was a very maligned player by a lot of our fans for 5 years. He scored against Creighton in the Sweet 16, which at that time, we had not got back to the Elite Eight since Bruce Pearl. That was, people forget about it now because Rick's done so much winning in March, but it was the whole, can you get to the Elite Eight?
No doubt about it. It was a huge game. Huge game. Friday night game, huge game.
Correct. Josiah James, 16 points.
God, you had to have him.
A guy who was a guy who was a role player and did a lot of good things, but he wasn't always a scorer. 16 points in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
I look at last year. Most people are going to forget this against Kentucky, and at the end of the day, we beat them by 15, so it didn't matter. Do y'all remember Darlingstone Dubar hitting 2 threes against Kentucky in the Sweet 16 last year? I mean, just out of nowhere, a guy that barely played the whole season. To step up in that spot, I was up there in that football stadium, to hit 2 threes. It was just, again last night. I mean, Bishop Boswell. I mean, what can you say? I mean, there's really nothing you can say about it. You got 4 threes from the guy. He probably hadn't hit 4 threes in the last month. He scored 2 points in Nashville. He scored 2 points in Nashville.
When he pulled on that first 3 ball, like we're literally, we're like 6 seconds into the game, and he already has 3 points. I mean, I'm sitting there going, what in the world just happened here? So great.
My immediate response to my buddies was, that's not typical. So that should be a good sign.
And then we come out and we have a couple of ram jam dunks off the weak side when they're supposed to be dominant. inside. We actually ran some cross-screen stuff and, some weak side. It was beautiful basketball to start. Beautiful stuff to start from the Vols.
Yeah, and I think, too, and y'all, people have been giving him his flowers. I know people are talking about his toughness, but I don't want it to go overlooked. Nate scored 16 yesterday. Now, it wasn't always pretty, and again, the turnovers at the end were bad, but, we won by 7, and really that's a 2-point game with 30 seconds to go. It wasn't like he scored 4 points and had 4 blocks. Like, he gutted out those 16 points, and that run there at the beginning of the second half was huge because they were hitting everything in those first 5 minutes. And I felt like that Nate, felt like it was about a personal 8 or 10 straight he got there. I thought that was like underrated, most important part of the game was him. We could have easily, with how they were shooting coming out of the half, we could have it could have flipped from, up 5 to down 5, but we basically stayed even in that first TV timeout. So like I said, I hope people just recognize that not only did he, tough it out and play good defense and get some big boards, but like those 16 points to me were just massive. Because he scored, like I said, he scored 0 on Friday, and he found a way to score 16 with a clearly bad ankle.
How about the way he kept falling down? And none of it was fake. It wasn't like he was going for some kind of he was farming for clicks online or something, looking for attention. That one time his ankle got rolled up on. Another time he came down and you could see he was in excruciating pain. There was another time where he was trying to get back on defense and he fell on his limb and he just kept getting up. And Grant, you follow the sport nationally. How many players of his ilk would be out there right now gutting it out? And how many would have shut it down? Maury Hanks, who's an NBA scout by trade for 30-plus years, said there aren't many guys. He said he could have shut it down in January and he was going in the top 10 in the NBA draft. He said there aren't many guys that would still be trying to do this like he's doing it right now because he's obviously in pain and he obviously can't get off the floor on offense.
Yeah, no, well, you just look around. The kid from Louisville is basically what he did. He got hurt. Remember, it was the game against us in December when he first started missing time. He basically did it. So, no, it's incredibly impressive. And, people won't remember, and there will be some people that nitpick. But, I hope when it's all said and done, now that we got in the second weekend, I hope people really appreciate Nate. And, again, we all know the price tag. That's fine. But, that kid's come in and been a humble, just a complete not a look-at-me guy, has deferred to Jacoby a lot of the time. And has gutted it out here in the last month. When he did, like you said, he did not have to. That guy's going to sign even if he goes all to 10 or 12, he's going to sign a $30 million contract here in about 3 months.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And you just listen to the guy talk. Any interview he gives, it's just incredibly impressive. And like I said, I just come back to humble, man. You just don't see a lot of these kids that have that trait anymore.
Well, he's raised properly. He's raised properly. One other thought on him. And I can let your last thought in. But the other thing about him is that Rick Barnes basically staked his reputation with his staff on him. And some will say, well, Rick Barnes was wrong because the kid got... No. Rick Barnes was right. Rick Barnes was right. Imagine, Grant, if this kid was 100% healthy right now, what Friday night would look like for Tennessee. And they might win anyway. But imagine if the kid was 100% healthy yesterday, what that game would have looked like.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. We would have run them off the floor. It's just... But again, we said it all year, Tony. It's Gillespie and it's Amen. And obviously you got the bonus yesterday. Some other guys scored. But, Jacoby was great. Jacoby's taken a lot of heat too, man. And, he's been frustrating at times. But he's another one that... I just think people better appreciate how good Jacoby Gillespie's been. I would have not have wanted to see this team. It would have been an NIT team probably, if we're being honest.
Well,
he didn't score as much yesterday, but man, he played high level basketball, and then he went 8 for 8 at the line in crunch time. That is big time. That is, you talk about money. Yeah, guys making money plays. Jacoby Gillespie this weekend, money player.
Grant, thank you. The thing about Jacoby Gillespie that I loved yesterday. When your other teammates are scoring, when Boswell's going well, get him the ball. You don't need to score. Kind of like that night at South Carolina. When your front line is working Let them cook. Let those guys cook. I love this basketball team. We'll come back, get some more calls in. Rodney Wood's in as well. We'll get Rodney in. We'll get some calls in. It's all going to happen on the other side. I'll tell you what, Rodney Woods is appreciating on this Native Mint guy right now. I don't think we understand, because people want to get stuck, like Grant said, on the $4 million price tag. If that's you, you go for it. Have class envy all you want. I don't begrudge a kid one bit. Because he's getting ready to sign a deal for life-changing money. I'm talking about life-changing money. And a lot of guys yesterday, after that second time he fell on the ground, would have checked out and nobody would have blamed him. This guy's on the floor at the end, literally throwing himself in the middle of that contact with those big guys, getting thrown to the ground, going to the foul line. I mean, that, you talk about some onions. If Bill Raftery was on the call yesterday, I mean, that was some Willis Reed stuff we saw out of him yesterday, fourth quarter. And I'm very surprised that Tennessee's in the Sweet 16. And so we were like, well, what about the Ken Palm? Okay, that's fine. If you play your game with numbers, great. Play the game with numbers. Let's just not watch the games. Because if you watch the games, you see that we're short of two guard. We have trouble closing games. We have trouble winning games at the end of games. We have trouble winning games like that all year. We almost threw that one away. But you go ahead and play the games with numbers, and how about we just quit watching? We'll just run a computer simulation. I'm very surprised that this team's made it to the Sweet 16 round with their deficiencies, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to say it out loud. I think they've gotten above their raisin, as we say in country music or bluegrass. So we continue with more on the other side right after this. It's time for your next move. You want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gufon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gufon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years. 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage, pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gufon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufon.com. That's Gufon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufon Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Fanrun Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Start the new year with comfort and savings from Pipe Wrench Home Services. Tired of high energy bills and constant heating and AC repairs? Ready for a more efficient home? There's never been a better time to upgrade your comfort and take control of your energy costs. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. A new energy efficient system means lower bills, fewer breakdowns, and peace of mind for years to come. And with Pipe Wrench Home Services same-day service guarantee, you won't wait to start enjoying a more comfortable home. Your comfort isn't just our job, it's our promise. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. Schedule your free estimate today at pipewrench.com. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Offer good with approved credit. Some restrictions apply. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Hey, I'm Alan, and we ship floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson City. Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet that you have? Well, today's your lucky day, because we have Supercore on sale for $1.79. 58 colors. We're liquidating. Supercore is the best waterproof floor with a lifetime warranty. Where are you going to find that anywhere else? Nowhere, let me tell you. $1.79, lifetime warranty. Come on down to Bristol Highway on your truck and trailer, and let's make a deal.
Gotta love this time of the year. Hoops here, home runs over there, and you've got to get your Tennessee on. And there's only one place, the best place to shop for your officially licensed Tennessee volunteer gear, Alumni Hall. Hands down, the best store for Vol fans. They've got the latest and greatest apparel for the entire family. Hats, man cave items, decor, and more. Get your Vols grill cover, a plate for your burgers, and of course, that chef's apron for all that outdoor grilling this spring. And accrue those rewards and watch your balance grow online or on the app. We'll see you at Alumni Hall and alumnihall.com and G to the B to the O, Alumni Hall.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B.
Tony B back with you. Let's go back to our phones. On a Monday, we celebrate Tennessee in the Sweet 16. I just appreciate so much these guys just gutting it out yesterday and getting to the round of 16. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air. And I think it's a great coaching job done by Rick Barnes. Just an awesome job by this team. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
How are my friends, compatriots doing today?
Hey, Lynn.
Very, very, very happy. And I want to, first of all, give a shout out to a name I hadn't heard for a while. Brant Packard. I worked with him in the in Tommy Bowl in the press box, you know, where the opposing radio used to be.
There you
He's
go.
A great guy. Great
guy. Awesome guy.
And my man of the game is my main black bear, I call him, J.P. Estrella, had two huge plays. He hit a 10-foot baseline jumper, nothing but net, I think, that gave us the 2-point lead. And then a little bit later when we were in scramble mode, the thing that drives us crazy, I think it was Ament that tried to throw him a pass. It was too high, and JP stretched just enough to tip it, and it caused a Virginia player to foul us. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. J.P. Estrella yesterday, Beanstar, was huge in that game. And he had some timely buckets in that game, Beanstar.
That was just basically a full roster victory there.
Yes. And I kind of remember talking about the Louisville game. I said, we've got about 10 guys that all contribute. And by golly, what you just said, Bino, a full roster game. We got contributions from everybody, which I love. That's the true team game right there.
No doubt about it.
But, yeah, we're in the Sweet 16, guys. I mean, I'm just going to be happy. And I'm with you guys. I was pulling for every SEC team to lose, but the heck with all that nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
I still don't even think of Nebraska as a Big Ten team, you know.
I was glad to see the big. Even though Nebraska won and they're supposedly in the Big Ten. When you've only won one tournament game in your history and you're going for the Sweet 16, hell, man, I'm cheering for them the rest of the way. That'd be great if they made the Final Four.
I feel the same way, Tony. As I watched that game, I was on Nebraska, but I was cheering more. I was cheering more for them to have that fan base to have something. You talk about wandering in the wilderness in men's sports with a fan base that absolutely loves it. They drove 6.5 hours. That's the most home court advantage I believe I've ever seen in an NCAA tournament neutral site game.
And those poor people are so desperate. They tried to put 100,000 people in a football stadium for a women's volleyball game, for Pete's sake.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But
they've earned it.
I'm so outraged. My friend and I said, obviously, these TV people have no idea about sports that are making these game times. There's only one team that's in either the mountain or western time zone. Out of, there's 15 that are in the central or eastern time zone left. And we got games starting at damn 10 o'clock at night.
How about this? You got a game in San Jose starting 4 o'clock their time.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the Sweet 16. It's March Madness.
Yep.
CBS and TNT could alternate, and they could have games like at 3, 5, 7, and 9. Yes, there'll be a little overlap. We're getting anyhow.
3 in the afternoon?
It's March Madness,
Are you
Tony.
huffing
3,
paint?
5, 7, and 9.
You huffing paint, sweetheart? Let me bring in the great Rodney Woods in here now as part of W. Lynn's call. Rodney Woods, because I know it's going to pop W. Lynn that you're on the line. You're one of his heroes. Rodney Woods, and you're one of my heroes. Your thoughts on what we witnessed yesterday?
Well, great win. One I was hoping for, but I'm like most people. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence just because of the kind of the history where we don't usually beat a seed that's higher than us.
Yep.
So I didn't feel great about that, but it was a heck of a win, and nobody says you can't go all the way. You just have to one game at a time and play and be prepared and play the best you can. I was really excited before the Miami game because I loved how the media was pumping Miami up, and I told my wife, I said, we'll wear them out because our guys are going to respect them. The only teams that team's going to beat people that don't respect them. And I said, our guys will guard them like they've never been guarded. And that game was over pretty quick. And but like yesterday though, I didn't have near the confidence in us that I had before the Miami game. I can tell you that.
Rodney, from a coaching perspective, Barnes, they did some things that they ordinarily haven't done. I mean, there were some adjustments made in the game defensively once they saw what Virginia was trying to do to them early on. When those guards started to get past us, they made some adjustments there after the first TV timeout. And then he burned all his timeouts during the game. I don't remember Rick Barnes running out of timeouts in a game. And I think they were smart. I think those were smart timeouts he took. at the critical junctures he took them.
Yeah, they really were. And I thought I think he's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
But I thought he coached as hard yesterday as I've seen him. I thought he was really into the game and every possession down. And the only thing I questioned was, how about maybe in practice that we have a segment. I used to have a segment every day as long as I coached. The first 10 minutes of practice before guys were even loose, the first 10 minutes were special situations. And I don't think I ever had a kid take the ball out of bounds and do what Ament did, because we were so disciplined to make sure the first thing before even stepping out of bounds, ask the official and make sure. I don't want the official to choke, and I don't want you to choke. Ask him, can I run the baseline or do I have a spot? Make sure you know before you even step out of bounds. And I thought, Ament did that once earlier in the year, and I thought, well, he'll never do that again. He'll learn from that, but did it again yesterday. So that was kind of disappointing to watch. But we had way too many turnovers down the stretch, and that's the thing about this game that's coming up. That's going to be what's so important, because those guys yesterday, they guarded Kentucky like they've never.
Rodney, that's their oxygen. Their oxygen is taking the ball away from you. They were against Kentucky. Speak to that. What you saw with them, Iowa State.
Well, early in the game, when it got to be 20-8, my inner Matt Dixon came out.
Yes.
And I was hate watching there for a few minutes because my heart was telling me I want Kentucky to get beat, but my coaching brain was telling me we got a lot better chance beating Kentucky than we do Iowa State. And so, because I was kind of excited about, we get to play Kentucky again, we get to send them home back-to-back years.
Yes.
And that would be a great feeling. But I knew Iowa State was a much better team. And, boy, they reminded me a lot of watching the old Tarkanian teams and Nolan Richardson teams on defense. I mean, they were trapping and guys were rotating like crazy. I mean, they played, when they got down 20-8, they played like they were down 12 and there was 4 minutes to go. And I thought, they're going to kill themselves. They're going to wear themselves out. But, boy, they played that way the rest of the day. They were really after them. And that's going to be a big challenge for us. Our spacing is going to be super important.
Yep. And
because the way they rotate defensively, there's somebody open, but you can't be too close to where the ball is, or it's going to get picked off. And I'd like to. One thing I'd like to see, Tony, with Ament. I love the kid. I think he's going to be a terrific pro. In fact, he'll do better in the pros than he does here, because the pro game's not near as physical and rough as the college game is. They actually call fouls in the NBA. So he's going to do better, I think. But I'd like to see it, because he's always matched up with somebody smaller than him. And if you notice, the smaller guards, like 6'2", they're the ones that really give him fits, because they get up under him. They get in his space and they crowd him and make it hard for him to dribble. And, about the only way he's going to be able to get by him is push him off when it's like, I'd like to see us isolate him and post him on the block a time or two. Play him like a post guy for a trip or two and see what they do. Now, I'm sure they've tried that in practice, and I'm sure they've tried it in a game, and maybe what happens, because when Estrella's in, when Akpara's in, nobody's going to guard them if they're 10 feet from the basket. So if you step those guys out to isolate Ament, the guy that's guarding him is probably not leaving. So now he's really double teamed right there. So but I'd still like to see, because he's got a great turnaround jumper in the lane, and with his back to the basket, and he turns and goes up. I'd like to see him do that on the blocker a time or two, just to see what happens, to see if that frees him up just a little bit more. Because in the open court, those guys are quicker than him. I mean, they're 6'2", 6'3". They're a lot quicker than he is, And I'd like to see him take them inside and see what happens down there.
W. Lynn, jump in here with the great Rodney Woods. This is greatness interfacing with greatness as far as I'm concerned.
Rodney, you are definitely one of my sports heroes. I'm Bernard King's age. I entered school in 74, but boy, I was going to games when you were playing, and you are part of what made me love Tennessee basketball. And I was just wondering if there's any way we could slip you in a game to shoot some free throws in Sweet 16.
Oh, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, and I appreciate the nice things you said. I said, they said, boy, you hate Vanderbilt too, don't you? Not just Kentucky. And I said, that's the only place that I was ever spit on. And that's the only place that I got hit in the face with a cup of ice walking off the court when they were top 5 and we upset them in 74 at Nashville. And the F Troop, remember all that bunch? They won the SEC that year. And I don't remember exactly. I hit 4. It was a bonus. I hit 4 or 6 in a row. I don't remember right at the end of the game to steal the game. And when we were leaving the court, I got drilled right in the cheek with a cup of ice and just made a real small cut there. Not much. It didn't feel good, though. But so I've got I got a special hate for that bunch, too.
I remember all those days. It was spit. I'd hear stories about spit, cigarette butts being thrown, all kind of crazy stuff from Kentucky.
At Vandy now, it wasn't in the arena, but there'd always be a group outside as you go in the arena there. There was a place where they could stand above you and they'd spit down on you.
What?
While you were walking in. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they had to be so sophisticated. They were kind of low class. But
you don't say. I got to talk to Plaster about that tomorrow.
So the next game they win will be one too many to suit me.
W. Lynn, thank you. You're the man. Bino, anything for the great Rodney Woods today as we interface with greatness?
Absolutely got something for Rodney. The great Matt Dixon usually sops up all Rodney's time on here. Rodney, it's good to talk to you. I could have gone all day without you mentioning F Troop. I hate that bunch. Still hate them today. I believe it was Ford, Fear, Fosness, Fart, and Fornicate, if I remember correctly. Rodney, I wonder, I know this has to drive you crazy watching end games and the way that we have trouble with possessions and giving them away. I wonder, and watching a series of games out here in Vandy, that's not only our ailment. A lot of teams have trouble closing out games. And I wonder, from your standpoint, how much that has to do with the fact that you have all these blended guards today and very few really true point guards that you hand the ball to and say, you run our team for 5 minutes. You think that has anything to do with it?
Yeah, I think the big thing, when teams quit being aggressive and they're just playing not to lose, that's when all those turnovers happen, when you do that. I learned from Coach Mears, and I tried to use this with all my teams. When other teams came at us hard, we tried to go to the basket just as hard. We attacked just as hard as they came at us because they're vulnerable back there because they're being so over-aggressive. And so I've always felt like, man, when somebody's after you in the last 2 minutes and you're up 2 points, don't try to hold the ball. Get the thing to the rim and score and get fouled. Get the ball to the rim. And I don't care what level it is, high school, college, you can't dribble around and hold the ball for 30 and 40 seconds. You can't do it. In college, you got the shot clock. But I've seen high school teams be up 5 or 6 with a minute and a half to go, and they're holding the ball, and somebody's going to turn it over. It's not, you cannot do it. It's just the other team, when they're that aggressive, you're playing a little slower because you're trying not to lose the ball. And when you play like that, I think that's when you're in trouble. I think you just go right. I just think you go right back at them and get the ball to the rim and stick it in. And I always felt like, and I think most coaches would, I'd rather I'd rather not be holding the ball up 3 when I got a chance to guard them and be up 5.
Hey, Rodney, I got to keep it. Hold your thought there, because I want to ask you a follow-up question regarding that, and just the state of this team coming into Friday, and really go back to Amen as well. Everybody hold their thoughts. Let's keep it live and legal here. Hour number 2, we're about to enter.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
And we are live on your Fanrun Radio. It's hour number 2. William Pattison is on the way next on the Wheels of Steel. Former Tennessee great and member of the Kentucky Basketball Hall of Fame, Rodney Woods, joining us. Hall of Fame high school co-chair. And the guy that found Chris Lofton back in the day, and Lofton now helping out on the Vol Network, which is a beautiful thing. It's all coming full circle, and it's all coming back to me, Celine Dion. But Rodney Woods joins. Hey, Rodney, it came up on our post game yesterday, and Maury was talking about this. Generally, officials will say a couple things, and they'll let the ball, the inbound man know that you cannot walk with the ball here. Several people have commented, including a couple people today, on our YouTube chat, and I had a couple friends reach out to me and text me and say they saw Ament talking to the official before he walked with the ball. It looks to me, Rodney, and you coach kids, Ament is not physically able to do the things that he wants to do on the court, and it sort of bled over into his mental game yesterday. And now he was back in mental block city with inbounding the ball. Do you think this staff realizes that and takes the ball out of his hands, hopefully, because it looked like he was back in that mental block thing that he was having earlier in the year when he's just such a splendid player? Why put that pressure on him to inbound the ball? What do you think the staff's thinking when they constantly have him inbounding the ball when really he should be the guy they're getting the ball into because he's their best foul shooter? What do you think they're thinking? Can you walk us through that?
Probably they're thinking because of his size, and he is a good passer. They're probably looking at size. When Gillespie took it out, they had him take it out the next time, and there was a bigger guy on him on the baseline, and he made that bad pass because I think he had a tough time seeing around that guy. And I think they're probably thinking, Ament's one of our best passers, might be their best passer, to be honest with you, because he really, most of the time when he drives, if he doesn't shoot, he finds the open guy. So I think that's probably what they're thinking is his size. And the official was probably telling him, most officials, and especially, guys at that level that are good officials, I'm sure they told him he couldn't run the baseline, and he probably just panicked, just panicked there and took off running with it. And that was tough to watch. I hated that for him because I texted you yesterday.
Yeah,
I've got a tremendous amount of respect for that kid. To me, I'm going to watch him play from now on. I'm going to pull for him when he gets to the NBA because it is rare for these kids like him. And he must, I don't know a lot about him, but he must be from a really good family because he seems like a great character kid. And I just love the idea that he didn't let his teammates down. He's still fighting. I've got a lot of people don't have a problem with it, but I got a big problem, Tony, with these guys that opt out of bowl games because I know what their thinking is and what they're being told. But at the same time, you come to a school like University of Tennessee, they helped get you where you're going to go. The fans helped you, your teammates helped you, and when you sit out of that game, you're not just, you might be thinking you're taking care of yourself, but you are hurting. Even though those bowl games don't mean anything to a player like that, they mean a lot to the fans, and it means a lot to the guys that are playing. And you can get hurt, just like the defensive back at Tennessee that got hurt during Christmas break last year, just working out by himself, and then he missed the whole year. You can get hurt doing that. So what's the difference in getting hurt there, playing a football game and maybe getting hurt, or a basketball game? I don't get that mentality to me it's just extremely selfish. And I know they've got people in their ears telling them, you don't need to do this. I don't know about the big kid at Kentucky. I don't, maybe he was hurt, but, all that money into a guy and he plays one game or two games. And then the kid at Louisville, they were a different team when he played. And I don't know for sure, but I don't think his injury was that bad. I think he was probably, like Amen, he was probably in some pain. He was hurting. And boy, you're just letting everybody down. I don't get it. I don't understand that. So I've been really impressed with Amen fighting through this and playing. He's not 100%, but I'll take him at 70% any day of the week.
You know what was incredible to me about him was the way he kept falling down and getting back up yesterday. And then late in the game, when they had to have those points, he drove it right inside, knowing I'm going to come down on this bad ankle, but I've got to get to the foul line here. That's selling out for your teammates, Rodney, when you play through that pain.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for a guy of his stature.
Those taller guys, too, when they have those lower leg injuries, it takes a lot longer than it does somebody 5'10" like me. It's a lot tougher, but I liked what he said the other day in one of the interviews. Somebody asked him if he was going to play, and he said he was going to play. He didn't care what anybody said. He was going to play. And I thought, daggone, that's got to, and he seems to be very, very unselfish when he plays too, I think. At times I thought he was a little too unselfish. I'd like to see him shoot it a few more times. But he was on a heater there until those injuries. He had really gotten comfortable. And the game for him, it had finally slowed down, and he was playing at a speed like everybody else, which he didn't do early in the season. And it had some, I think the speed of the game bothered him for a while, and then I think he got a lack of confidence, and then I thought he went through a phase there for 2 or 3 games where he wanted to do it to be good so bad that he was doing too much, and he was forcing things. And so I thought he went through 2 or 3 phases there, but boy, he really figured it out there back. I don't remember what game, but a couple games there right before that Kentucky game. And that first half at Kentucky, he looked like a lottery pick. He looked like that kind of player. So
let me ask you one more thing before you jump. And Rodney Woods joins. And by the way, Bino, if you want to jump back in here, or you, Bry, jump back in here. But Rodney, I know you got a roll here shortly. But this Jacoby Gillespie guy, this is fun. This is interesting, right? I happen to have something pop up on my phone. It was like a Maryland sort of chat board kind of thing. I don't know why it popped up. Maybe because I was talking about it, my phone was listening to me. But they were talking about him. And they were saying, hey, I'm so happy for that kid because he was only here for a year, but he represented himself with such class. They're mad at that coach who went to Villanova. They don't like that guy even a little bit there at Maryland. So when he left, all the players left. But I think Gillespie is probably going to come back home anyway. And he gave Tennessee a big discount in doing so. And he kind of drives me nuts. But he makes winning plays. And they were talking about him, how in their Sweet 16 run last year with the Crab 5 up there, he just did winning things at winning times. And he does do maddening things. And he's not a pure point guard. But your thoughts on just his kind of courageous play here and how he played yesterday so well?
Yeah, I thought maybe I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose to Vandy, of course, or anybody in the SEC tournament. But that was probably a good thing for us because I thought he looked a lot more fresh in these 2 games than he did down the stretch the last 3 or 4. I thought he really looked tired, and I thought he didn't shoot it well at all. And so I thought that was good. But he is a winner, and he's got a lot of confidence. That guy does. I think even at his size, I think he feels like he can take anybody and score anytime he wants to, and that's great to have a guy like that. I did want to put something over his mouth yesterday there when he was doing the interview after the game. Coach Mears always had a saying. He would say, say little when we lose and say less when we win. And he said, we're the best defensive team in the country. And I'm thinking, have you watched Iowa State play? Don't motivate them any more defensively than they already are. They're already at a level. I think I saw where they were like fourth in the country in forcing turnovers. And so that's probably going to be the biggest. That's going to be the biggest facet of the game on Friday is us taking care of the basketball. And if we do that, we got a good chance. It's going to be tough because I think this will be the toughest group we faced since we played Houston earlier in the year.
And this Lipsy guy, their point guard, Rodney, and you played that position, that is one tough hombre.
Yeah.
Played like a million games, won like a million games. Will get in there, will stick his head in there, will try to get the ball out of your hands, does not take a possession off. I mean, he is one tough hombre.
That might be the matchup of the tournament between he and Gillespie.
No question.
Gillespie's got a lot of that in him also.
Yes, sir. Those two guys are not going back down. Hey, Bino, do you have any, or Brian, do you guys have any other thoughts for the great Rodney Woods, who's blessed us with some time here?
No, just really great to get an opportunity to talk to Rodney. And Rodney, be well, and thanks for supporting the show.
But, I'll use an old softball saying that my coach had when we had the Star Path team. Our pitcher was a great player, but he didn't hit many home runs. And when he would hit one, the coach would yell out, "There's one we didn't count on." And when Boswell made those threes yesterday, I looked at my wife and I said,
"Amen.
There's three we didn't count on. There's 6 we didn't count on. There's 9. There's 12 we didn't count on." But he looked good shooting it. But I thought yesterday was the first time I've seen him actually be ready to shoot and not think about it when he caught it. He just caught it and shot it. And that's
Explain that to me. Explain that to me.
You can't shoot if you only shoot because there's nothing else to do with it.
Explain that to me from a coaching perspective, why he caught that ball and shot it. Did they tell him?
I think he was told to.
Yeah.
I think he was told in practice that you're going to be open and you need to have your feet set and you just catch and don't think about it. You just catch and shoot. You're open. He's always trying to get closer, and Coach Mears always yelled, "Closer is not always better. Open is better." And just catch the thing. If you're open and nail it, don't think about it. And I thought he had a pretty good looking stroke on him there yesterday.
Ron, you've lived among those Kentucky mouth breathers for so long. It's probably a normalcy now to watch people just breathing out their mouths and slobbering down their faces and this, that, and the other. But I got to ask you something. When you think about the fact that in 6 consecutive tournaments we've gone further than them, can you wrap your alleged mind around that? I mean, is that bizarre or what?
It's. I always thought Tennessee could be where they are. Even when I played, I thought at that time, this is the second best job in this conference, behind Kentucky's job as a coach. It's the second best. It's the second best fan base for basketball. It was the number 1 fan base for football, but it was the second best one for basketball. And I always thought there was a chance for it to be, but I didn't think. I thought we could do that, but I didn't think Kentucky would be like they are. No, I didn't think they would kind of fallen off like this. But it's of course they had a couple of injuries to what was supposed to be probably 2 of their top 3 players. And I'm sure that, they would have definitely been a different team with those guys healthy. But I still don't think they were going to be what they're used to, what they have, that kind of team. But it's unusual for them unusual for them to bow out this early, this many years in a row. There's no question about that.
Buying horses over there in Keeneland just doesn't pay for what it once did, man.
Well, everybody else can pay now too. So
you got it, my brother.
Alabama, kind of like Alabama football.
Rodney, I do have one more quick one for you. I'm sure you had opportunities. Did you ever consider coaching college basketball after you were established in high school?
You know, if the rules were like they are now, I probably would have stayed in it. I was I was a graduate assistant at Tennessee for a year, and then my first paid coaching job, I was an assistant at LMU, and that was 2 years. That was the second year I was out at Tennessee, and I hated it because, and even when I was at Tennessee as a graduate assistant, I didn't like it because you could go watch a guy play 25 times during the season. You could live, like we got a hotel room in Canton, Ohio, so that a coach could be there, stay a week at a time and trade out, one coach, another coach, and basically give Phil Hubbard a ride home every day after school. And we had a hotel room there for like 2 months. And here's a great story on that. One of the coaches was up there, and Phil Hubbard had narrowed it to Tennessee, Kentucky, and Michigan. And so he finally cuts it down. He finally cuts it down to Michigan and Kentucky. The coach calls Coach Mears, tells him, and instead of coming home, Coach says, stay there and make sure he doesn't go to Kentucky. And so the coach is going, what am I supposed to do? How can I do that? But anyway, a few days later, he commits to Michigan. So that coach, he did his job, even though he didn't do anything.
Absolutely next level, Rodney.
But you had to, you were never home if you were an assistant. Yeah. You were gone all the time, and I didn't like that. I wanted to coach. I wanted to be on the floor. I didn't want to run around all over the country. Now you're limited in how many times you can go, and basically they don't hardly go watch them at all anymore. They watch them on the weekends in those AAU tournaments, and they don't have to go during the season. When I played high school, Tennessee sent a coach to watch me play 17 games in a row. There was one coach there, whether it would be the freshman coach, the third assistant, the fourth one, Coach Mears. Coach Mears came to watch me the day they lost at Kentucky in 1971 in March, or late February, early March. He rented a car, and he and his wife Dana drove from Lexington to basically almost the Tennessee line to Middlesboro to watch me play in the district championship. And came and still had his orange blazer on from the game. Didn't even change clothes or anything. But you don't have to do that anymore. So to me, it's a lot better now because coaches actually they're not on the road, 24/7.
Rodney, you're my man. I love you. I appreciate you, and thank you. It's always great to visit with you.
All right, good to talk to you.
Hey,
guys.
my best to Peyton. Is Peyton still around?
He's still there. Yeah.
Have him reach out, man. I want to talk to that kid.
He works at a counseling firm. He's a counselor out in Maryville.
I love him.
And he also works at one of the hospitals on Saturdays there. He counsels there also.
Hey, tell him, if you can, Rodney, if you get an opportunity, we might need his services midnight on Friday. Thank you, Rodney.
And tell Matt, I'll see you at the Kentucky-Tennessee baseball series.
Let's
play in Lexington.
I love you and Matt. And by the way, can you do me a favor? Go down in your basement and drop a 2 for me later on. Right? Thank you, Rodney.
Now I've got it down in the bowl. There's a big UK decal.
See? Nobody believes me.
I have added a Florida one, a Vanderbilt, and Alabama and Georgia, the ones that I hate the most.
Rodney,
so I've
thank
added
you.
those.
Thank you,
the
brother.
others, Texas and all of Oklahoma, they'll probably get there someday, but the others are really at the top of the list.
Oh, thank you, Rodney. Good talking to you.
All right.
I love him.
That's beautiful.
And Peyton, you out there doing counseling? I came so close a couple years ago to going and getting a degree in that and getting out of this. And came very, very close. So good for you, Peyton, for doing that. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Two of the worst chats back-to-back maybe I've ever seen in my life. Vandy Daddy, Vandy Dandy, VD we call him, has entered the chat, and he says the following on YouTube. Iowa State money line for 5K looks pretty tempting. A VD. Nothing's stopping you, my brother. The water's warm, and the shot is up, and it's no good. Just like that take. And then that's followed by these two brain donors who just and this back to our phones guy is on a real brain doning heater today over at YouTube. He says the following: Boswell has no business being on an SEC roster. Now, Bino, I've heard of some bad takes in my day. After a guy saves your bacon and shoots you through to a round, Bino, I'll let you handle that one, Beanstar.
Tony, I frequently partake of the show now when I'm not on it.
Yes.
Watching.
Yes.
The chat. I really like it. But you do have a cross section of IQs there. It's good. It's good human study.
And some of them have what we call well, we take a brief time out and come back to the phones. I am hoping you don't have keys to anything that has a motor. I'm not sure I'd let you operate a moped, my friend. As we continue on the other side, no offense to you. I mean, I'm not trying to launch on you. Let's take a brief time out and come back. Happy 35th anniversary to my lovely bride, Laura, who all these years, let me tell you something. If it ain't for her, there's no way I'm behind this microphone right now. I'm not sure I'm alive if it isn't for her. So I praise God for her every day and cherish her as we continue with more on the other side. And she's probably thinking to herself, why? As we continue with more right after this.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family-owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, they're Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Achillio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest, finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a Craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in. Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty, and I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and as always, go Vols.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville.
And now back to B. And you know what? You can't spell basketball without a B. And so back to our phones. I've seemed to have touched a nerve with this individual who I didn't call him stupid or anything. I didn't launch on the guy. I just basically said, we've had some silly, goofy take. Look, we have a copper card call the show. What would you give, Brian? What would you give for the worst take on the can't give him a copper card. Like, I don't know, like McDonald's gift certificates or something. No offense to McDonald's. I mean, back to our phones. The guy had 4 threes. Listen, I think the guy's been kind of a black hole this year at 2 guard, okay? But the guy had 4 threes and 9 assists and 0 turnovers in a game, and you're on here saying he doesn't belong on a Division I roster? Or an SEC roster? I think that's a little harsh. And I think that qualifies you for brain donor status. No offense. I mean, and then he says to me, Bino, he says to me, what is your background? Hang on. You're pretty quick to call people dumb or stupid. Just curious about your basketball background. Well, if you must know, I played the game growing up. Played the game in a CYO program at St. Pat's. I played the game growing up on several teams. I was around some of the great coaches in my formative years, including the great Ray Mears, who took me under wing. Got to study some film with the great Kevin O'Neill. Loved the sport. Grew up in Philadelphia when it was, especially college hoops, when it was really blowing and going in the big 5 years. Spent many, many days at Old McGonigal Hall. Came under the wing of the great Sonny Hill in the living room. And spent thousands of hours talking about it. Post-game shows, spending time with experts like the great Maury Hanks and C and those types of people, and try to get a blend for the human side, the computer element of the sport, and have a pretty decent feel for the game. Enough a feel not to launch on a guy after he had a career game shooting us through to another round, you punk and clown. Brian Hartman, your thoughts on what we're witnessing. Give me a little breakdown. You're preparing a breakdown for the blog of the 16 teams left. Brian, talk to me.
Well, 9 of them were in the Sweet 16 last year. And you still have half of last year's Final Four still alive, but Florida and Auburn, Florida's out, but Duke and Houston could go back-to-back Final Fours. What's interesting is Iowa State last year lost to Ole Miss 91-78 in the second round. Ole Miss was the 6th seed, and Iowa State was the 3 seed. So Iowa State lost to an SEC team last year, and now they're facing an SEC team, a second SEC team in a row. They had to face Tennessee State and then Kentucky, and now they get to face Tennessee State's big brother in Knoxville, which is interesting. Path to get there.
Bino, Jeff.
I don't know if that's what Tennessee is 3-3 against the other Sweet 16 teams this year, by the way. They beat Houston and Texas, split with Bama, lost to Illinois and Arkansas. So, I mean, why not us?
Why not us?
They can beat some of these high-quality teams.
My hope is this, all kidding aside from all these guys I'm having fun with right now. If you get this far, and you've gotten this far with a guy that's banged up, let's do something legendary. And this guy, that was a legendary effort by him yesterday. Someone said, well, you know, I'm in the Ken Palm. Ken Palm doesn't play basketball games. And that kid was out there on one leg, willing us. And Boswell, willing us. And Akpara, willing us. And Virginia played offensively in the second half at a really, really high clip. And we got through them. It was a really impressive win. Remember, games aren't played by computers. They're played by humans. And we're pretty flawed. And we did some of that crazy stuff that we do and still got through. Why not us? Why not Alabama? Just go out there Friday night. You know, we got this late night thing now. How about this? Alabama goes out there Friday night and shoots the damn lights out, shoots Michigan out of the tournament. We go out on Friday night and play the game of our lives. We're on here till 4 o'clock in the morning. We have an Elite Eight matchup with Alabama on Sunday, a guy that Barnes lock, stock, and barrel owns. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to, that could happen. Did anybody have Iowa, a 10-point dog, doing what they did yesterday to Florida? Did anybody have that? Look, there are no mid-majors. So this is, Tennessee could be a little Cinderella here as a 6. As a 6. We get a shot at the 2. You know, historically, I think we're like 1-9 against the 2 seed in this thing. Historically. Why not? Why not us? Why not bust the bracket open?
You know, I know what it is about cheering for SEC teams, but the best path forward for the Vols, if you're thinking Final Four, is for Alabama to beat Michigan.
Hey, Bino, I'm cheering for that SEC team. How about you, Bino?
Without question, I'm cheering for Alabama.
Yes.
Rodney Woods even said himself that the best path for Tennessee would have been Kentucky beating Iowa State.
Yes.
And I thought that last week.
Yes.
But you know, I'll never not be happy when Kentucky loses and goes home.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Because for that team to get to the Sweet 16 after the season they had would be an insult to the sport and a crime on humanity.
Yep.
That Kentucky team.
865-200-5402. And Bino, all year long, somebody said it. All year long. It's these maddening teams. It's these teams that make you flat out nuts. Watch this team jump in there and be the one that does it. You are, as far as I'm concerned, you are 40 minutes away from that occurring. 80 minutes away from uncharted territory. Why not this team?
Well, Tony, you know my contention's always been that it'll be the one that we least expect to make the Final Four that finally does it. Whether this team can overcome the number of flaws they have to get there, who knows? But this is a team that I, without question, had no expectations that they would come close to making a Final Four. So,
and I still have no expectations.
Oh, no.
I'm going to be honest.
No.
This Iowa State team we're playing is really, really good. And that performance they put on in the second half against Kentucky without one of the best players in America, and that Jefferson kid, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable how well they played.
Where I come from, we call that, tramping on the gas.
Yeah.
Do you feel me on that? They took the gas in the second half on offense and defense and tramped right on it. And I mean, if you didn't see the last 10 minutes of that game, they swallowed them. Let's go to the phones. Happy trails, Greg McDermott at Creighton, who's retiring. Great coach. Brian, have you ever had this thought? He looks like Bob Baskerville, who's on with Dubsy in the afternoon. Or is Dubsy on with him? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know, Bob. Are you on with Dubsy, or is Dubsy on with you? Or am I trying to sow discord, Bino? That's not my, what do you say, Bino? That's not my style, is it?
No, it is not, Tony. You're known as the dean of discord, but I stand against it.
To go back to the Vols, Jonesy has a good point about Tennessee. Tennessee just makes teams uncomfortable. They really do. That Virginia team didn't know what hit them in that first half. When those officials let the Vols get out there and grab and hold out there that run teams off that 3-point line, you could forget about it. Somehow Virginia in the second half, they got on track now. They got in the groove. Man. But should we get Ewad on to break down how Cincinnati beat this Iowa State team, or is that just part of a long season, Bri? What do you think?
Well, that might actually give fans some hope. Yeah. I'll tell you this, though. Iowa State has only been to 2 Elite Eights ever.
That's right.
And they went in 1944 when they went to the Final Four. Of course, it wasn't known as the Final Four then, but 1944 and 2000 are their Elite Eight appearances. They're going to be – I'd have to think that they're playing in Chicago. Their fan base is going to try to take over that arena.
Yes.
And they're going to have tremendous expectations. They played so well against Kentucky, and they have legitimate expectations. Tennessee has nothing to lose in this game. Alabama really has nothing to lose in their game. And you just have to wonder if that could play to Tennessee's advantage somewhat.
Here's a crazy number for you. Tennessee, something's got to give them. We go to the phones. And I promise you I'm going right to the phones because I practice phone discipline today. Lammy just said, Dixon's right. I pay too much attention to the chat, Bino. I love the chat. My chatters, there's 258 people on the YouTube channel right now. They provide content. They provide mirth. They provide good information. That James Daniel IV guy's got great takes. That there are some guys in there that are very courageous. Some of them have been banished for a day, for a week, and they get right back up again. Chumpawamba, tub thumping. Tennessee is 1-9 all-time versus top teams in the NCAA tournament. Second lowest win percentage of any team, minimum 10 games. Iowa State is 1-6 all-time in the Sweet 16. Lowest winning percentage, any team, minimum 7 games. Shout out to the CBS research team, and this is from the great Ben McKees, who was courtside last night, styling and shall I say, filing, kiss, stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, woo, last night. Go to our phones. Bino, something's got to give Friday, man. These are two kind of, shall we say, loser programs stuck in the Sweet 16 here, meeting each other.
Yeah, 2 programs without a great deal of tournament success, Tony. So, high success. So, yeah, something's got to give.
Back to our phones we go. Ben McKee, you look good courtside, son. You look good courtside, son. Pretty weak woo by me, but I'm pretty allergic right now. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, everyone? It's Music City Sam.
There he is. Sammy back for the crown. The Copper Card call the show every single time he calls in. He is the reigning champion.
Hey, I don't know if Bishop Boswell can play on an SEC team, but he sure could on an ACC team. Because he cooked one last night.
He cooked them. He cooked those dudes, man. No question.
Fillet of fish is what he gave them.
Hey, Sam, how surprised were you? Because Maury called me early in the game. He could not believe the difference in the athleticism and size of Tennessee versus Virginia. And when you put them side by side on the court yesterday, isn't that just the damn truth? That they look like a mid-major basketball team compared to what we do in our weight room.
What Parham to me is probably our most underrated player. His athleticism to be able to get out on guards and get back to positions, blocking shots. I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams run into him and think, good night, where's that dude from?
Yeah, he's perfect.
We've got guys like that. Dixon. I mean, I know Kerry drives us nuts, but he can knock people straight off the block no matter how big they are.
Dixon has a great point when he says that he's probably our best center in the Barnes era. When you think about what they want these bigs to do, which sometimes entails maddeningly sometimes picking up guys 30 feet from the basket, he just moves like a gazelle out there. Hey, Bino, a couple of his defensive plays yesterday were some all-time great stuff, what we saw from Okpara.
No question, in absolutely the most critical time. When, it's easy to take a head fake. It's easy to do this, do that. You're anxious. He was just a man under there at a time when we absolutely had to have him.
Yeah, he is. I mean, this team is obviously maddening, but really, what college team isn't to some extent? I said something a couple months ago. Whenever Cade Phillips went out, Felix Okpara was the only one that had played really significant minutes returning on his team. So all the maddening stuff they do isn't overly surprising to me over the course of the season. But this team at this time of year, I don't think they're going to be out of many games. There's only been 2 or 3 games all year where we didn't have a chance to win it in the last couple minutes. And they've had 7 losses by 5 points or less.
Yep.
It just takes them getting on a run, making a couple extra layups, getting a tip ball here or there, and they can win any game they're in. I'm not convinced that other teams don't look at Tennessee and think the same thing we think of Iowa State. They're not looking at Tennessee thinking that's going to be an easy game.
I don't think there's any question about that. We're getting a foremost expert for Iowa State on the air here in the next couple of days. He's the it guy there. Brian, I'm getting ready to text you that. Maury's lined it up for us, but I'll tell you this. When Iowa State looks at Tennessee, they've got to think, man, we're looking in the mirror here, because they are looking in the mirror. And they're also going to fight the history of what they do in this round. This is generally when they exit the tournament. Now, this guard they have, this point guard, and the way they can rip the ball out of your hands, they're pretty damn good at that. We're going to have to be a lot tighter with the basketball than we were on Sunday if we're going to get through, right, Bino? Otherwise, they're going to come out of there with 8 or 10 steals on us if we're not careful. That's my concern.
We would both Gillespie and Amen have to be a whole lot stronger with the basketball.
Yeah, because these guys, that's what they do. They attack the ball.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the best game so far in the tournament, or one of them.
Oh, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. It's a shame. Now, I was talking to one of my friends that's in television who explained something to me. He said, Tony, they put that game at 10:30 because it's a Friday night, and a lot of people are going to stay up and watch it. He said it's actually really a compliment to Tennessee. They think that game will do a big number. They're not burying that game. And I'm going, can't you play the game? Why would you play the game in San Jose at 4 o'clock local time? It just doesn't make any sense to have West Coast games and have West Coast games going off in the early window. And he said, well, it's a worse game in this one. They're burying that game. They want this Tennessee-Iowa State game, and people have gotten used to seeing Tennessee play to the deep middle of these tournaments. They're a brand name now on television. I think it's an interesting perspective, worth repeating.
It is. I still don't understand any sporting event starting past 9 o'clock.
Totally agree with that.
I don't get that at all.
And you're at Nashville. So for you, this game starts at 9:30. That's even late for you. Because let me tell you something. If you think this game's starting at 10 o'clock or 10:10, as Brant Packer wrote today, whose father was at CBS all those years, minimum 10:30 Eastern time. Minimum 10:30 Eastern time. Minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably the worst thing about the game being in Chicago is they're going to have a lot of Iowa State fans there. That's not a super far drive for them, I don't think. And it's just, I just know a lot of Tennesseans don't want to drive to Chicago.
Yep.
Because I've driven that many times. It's not fun at all.
No, I've driven it too. You have to go through all the windmills to get up there, and you got to go through Gary, Indiana, who gave us the Jackson 5.
Next level.
Thank you, my brother. I'm going back to Indiana. Bino, what's your favorite Jackson 5 jam? Do you have one? You're probably a dancing machine guy.
I do. I want to be where you are.
I knew you'd call out a ballad, Bino. I think Michael's vocal performance on I'll Be There was pretty good. And him and Jermaine splitting the vocal there.
Never Can Say Goodbye is
Never
also
Can
really
Say
good.
Goodbye. Clifton Davis wrote that song. That's a great tune. That's a great song. Young Michael Jackson, before he did whatever he did to himself, that voice was as pure as the driven snow. And his voice on the Off the Wall record, when he sung She's Out of My Life, and even Thriller, Bino, when he did a couple of those Rod Temperton tunes. What was the one? Stay with me. I want Lady of My Life. That's a beautiful song. Stanley Jordan
Off the Wall's fantastic.
Yeah.
Girlfriend's the hidden gem on Off the Wall.
Girlfriend. I think Pebbles did that one. How could you let it treat you so bad? All right, wrong song.
One.
All right, let me shout out my friends at VIP Play, then we go back to the phones. You get NIT action tonight. You got, I saw Stephen F. and Pearl in action with the NIT last night. Brian, did I see that?
Yeah, they beat Seattle, and they're headed to the Elite Eight of the NIT.
How about that? I give Stephen Pearl a lot of credit for those kids not laying down. He had one kid opt out. He said, well, who cares? You don't play. We don't want you here. Go do your thing. I give Stephen Pearl a lot of credit here. He's raising the banner. He's carrying the banner right now for the SEC. How many other SEC teams, Brian, live in the NIT?
There are none. Auburn's the only Power 4 conference team or Power Conference team that's playing in the NIT right now. Of the 8, they're the only one from the Power Conference.
I got to ask Bino
Steve
Jeff
Forbes
if he
and Wake
respects
Forest lost last night at home.
Yep.
So they're out.
Bino Jeff, do you respect it?
The NIT?
Do you respect the fact that they're playing in it, that Auburn's playing in it?
Oh, I absolutely respect it. Tony, Rodney was mentioning, and I know this is an old man view that we hold, but there was an old beer commercial, and I can't remember which one.
Yep.
But it was a spoof on selfishness of professional players, supposedly, at that time. I can't even remember what the character's name was, but somebody said to him, hey, there's no I in team. And his response was, yeah, there ain't no we either. And I'm afraid that that's too much the viewpoint of the modern player. The team really doesn't mean a whole lot to him.
Pretty next level. It's sad, is what it is. I'll tell you another thing, it's sad. Second straight year, and the only time it's happened, no mid-major teams in the Sweet 16. You know what's going to happen next year? It's going to be the third straight year. You know what's going to happen after that? Fourth straight year. You know what we've done? Pulled the charm out of the tournament. You know why? Because Tennessee's going to rate a couple mid-major players. Watch and see. They're involved with a couple.
I think what that does is create better matchups from here on.
Oh, no question,
and
Brian.
Probably better game because you get one of those teams in the Sweet 16, or Elite 8, and they just get blown out by 30, which has happened several times.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
We're heading for a showdown, ladies and gentlemen, and we're heading for an overtime. Get in with us. The great William Pattison on the way.
Hey, I'm Alan, and we ship floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson
Tell
City.
him, Alan.
Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet?